All right, now that we have a couple matches and a class through the Holosun 508T, I think it's time to do a brief review, discuss the features I like, features I don't like, kind of where we're sitting on that. First off, right off the bat, the titanium body and durability. I am not going to drop mine. I'm not going to throw it or do anything like that. I've watched Aaron Cowan do it, and so that's telling me the durability is up there with the RMR. And they're really the only two optics that have gone through without any cracks in the objective lens. For those of you that don't know his test, he does 2,000 rounds, and every 500 rounds he drops at shoulder height onto concrete or a brick or whatever he has handy. Very high durability anyway. Definitely something you would consider a duty optic. The reticle. Really like the circle dot. It does cut down on battery life. We'll start discussing battery life here in just a minute. But it is really easy, especially if you're a beginner, to pistol dots to get that kind of picture of where it's at in the window. So you'll take a look, you'll be pointing through it, and you can kind of see the glare of the 32 MOA circle, and so you know which side of the window it's in. I didn't have as much trouble switching over to a pistol dot, because my presentation I worked on a lot. So out of the holster, presentation, grip, everything like that. So the dot's right where I expect it to be when I pull it up. That's just from a lot of work on drills. A lot of people aren't set up at that level, so that circle dot reticle really does help. I might end up turning it off just because I would rather have the extra battery life. We'll see. We'll see where I get to on that. Speaking of battery life, the shake awake feature. Now this is a feature I don't understand why more optics aren't running it. I've had Holosuns before, they've had the shake awake, I've never had an issue with it. Aaron Cowan's durability testing, he didn't have any issue with it. So what the shake awake does is after 10 minutes, it shuts the reticle off. And so it has to be sitting, not moving at all, and it'll turn it off. The big bonus there is when we come home after work or whatever it is we're doing, you go sit down, take your gun off, go sleep, eat, whatever you're doing. When you set it down and it quits moving, so that's at least 8 hours for most people, right? So you're gonna get at least 8 hours of sleep, or you're gonna be laying down for 8 hours, whatever the case may be. So that thing's not moving, and for 8 hours it is turned off. So that's a third of your day. So you got 33% more battery life right off the bat. You don't have to do anything for it. So automatically it's got a huge bonus compared to other optics that just stay on. Like the Trigicon RMR is just gonna stay on the whole time. It has a really good battery life, but you could have 33% more by just adding the shake awake feature. Seems like a no-brainer anyway. Since we're on battery life anyway, the tray, which is probably the biggest deal that's going on as far as people are talking about it and on the internet and such. Being able to have your battery in a side-mounted tray means you do not have to pull the optic off to replace the battery. So every year when you need to replace that battery, all you gotta do is take the little screw off, little tray comes out, put a new battery in it, slap it in, and you're good to go. That is really nice. Not having to re-zero, not having to have a whole range day planned out to go put a new battery in your optic, which every year I'm putting new batteries in every optic. So that is really nice that I don't have to re-zero, check zero, figure everything out, wear and tear it's gonna do. As far as if I was gonna pull it off, I'd probably replace the screws so I don't have to worry about that. It's set, it's Loctited, it's done. No problems. The solar feature, not as big a deal. You're not gonna have it, especially carrying concealed, you're not gonna have it to where it's actually using solar power other than when you're shooting it. So the entire time you're shooting it, it's likely, unless you're doing a night class, it is not running off of the battery at all. But that amount of time isn't really gonna add up to much. I mean, I shoot quite a bit, but it's still, in the long scheme of things, nothing like the 33% you get off the shake awake. And as far as that solar panel goes, there's one feature I really don't like that they have, but luckily they let you shut it off, and that's the auto adjust. The auto adjust works really good if you're going from ambient light to low light and back and forth. It seems to always have a really good level of where you're at. The problem is when you're doing low light, no light stuff, you hit the weapon mounted light and it zings out there and it scares that reticle right away. So it completely washes it out. You can't see anything. It won't adjust from the ambient light of your weapon light because it's going in the wrong direction. So it doesn't see it, doesn't know it's there, and so your reticle's just gone. Completely washed out, doesn't work at all. So obviously that's a huge no-go. I mean, you should have a weapon mounted light, and most of the time, you know, when shit's going down, it's going down at night. So that's just a complete no-go for me. It's really easy to turn it off. All you gotta do is like hold the plus, I think it's the plus button for 4 seconds and it turns it off, it blinks and you're done. So, not a huge deal, you just turn it off. It's kind of sad that it doesn't pick it up, but I can understand why, because there's no light getting to the solar cell. So when you're shooting all that lumens away, when you got that really nice bright weapon light like you should have, it doesn't do anything to change the reticle. And that kind of sucks, but you turn it off and you're good to go. I mean, that's the only bad thing I have to say about the 508T. Everything else I love about it. The red dot in general is a huge upgrade. I mean, a huge performance upgrade for me. I was really plateauing. I shoot a lot of competition, a lot of classes with iron sights, and I was just kind of starting to plateau, stuck where I was at. Switching to the optic, I have really started to see an increase in just how effective I am with it. Spinners, small targets, all that kinds of stuff I've just done really, really good with. So take that for what it's worth. The dot is definitely an upgrade. I really like the Holosun 508T. I'm going to be comparing it to the Trijicon SRO, not the RMR, the SRO, because I think that's a more important comparison. And when that video comes out, you'll kind of understand why.